Hello and welcome to NewsClick. Today we are going to discuss the Controller and Auditor General's report, the CAG report, which has been placed in the Parliament on the Rafale deal. Paranjoy, how do you react to this? In the Supreme Court sealed cover, we had been told, this is what the Supreme Court judgment said, that the CAG has redacted the price and placed it before the Parliament. All the figures have been given to CAG. This was said about 2 months back. Now we find that actually CAG has redacted, as predicted in the Supreme Court sealed cover, presumably, that the price figures. Does it show that the CAG had already told the government what it was going to do?
Prabir, firstly, this report presented by the Controller and Auditor General of India in Parliament today, which is the 13th of February 2019, is not only about the Rafale aircraft manufactured by Dassault Aviation. It deals with 11 contracts that were signed by the Indian Air Force. These were capital acquisition contracts between 2012-13 and 2017-18. The total value of all these contracts came to 95,000 crore approximately. Now wait, what is very interesting is right up front the preface says that the Ministry of Defence on the 15th of January 2019 had requested the CAG's office to redact the commercial details pertaining to the MMRCA, which is the Medium Multi-Role Combat Aircraft Rafale का जो लड़ाकू विमान CAG को रक्षा मंत्रालय ने कहा कि इसका जो कीमत है, जो दाम है, इसको मत बताओ,
दाम के डिटेल्स मत बताओ।
अब फिर सुनिए क्या हुआ। फिर CAG उनको 5 फरवरी को लिखा कि क्यों ऐसे कर रहे हैं, और उन्होंने कहा CAG was reluctant and refused to carry out the redaction of price information on account of difficulties in comprehension. मतलब उसको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है क्यों ये पूछ रहे हैं, और उन्होंने इसका विरोध किया और बोला कि अगर हम ये सारे जो दाम है इसको हम हटा देते हैं तो हम कैसे तुलना करेंगे? How do we compare?
The question is they can compare but nobody will understand. किसी को समझ में नहीं आएगा क्या क्या है।
एक छोटा सा बात मैं और जोड़ना चाहता हूँ। ये जो रक्षा मंत्रालय बार बार CAG को कहा और CAG का हम उनकी बात मान लिया। मतलब जो CAG है, जो कंट्रोलर एंड ऑडिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया है, एक संवैधानिक संस्था है। इनका एक स्वाधीनता से, ऑटोनॉमी से काम करना, तो लग रहा है इस बार एक नया प्रेसिडेंट हम गया कि इन्होंने पहले ना कहा फिर मान लिया।
दो चीज मैं आपसे इसमें पूछना चाहता हूँ। एक तो है कब सुप्रीम कोर्ट को उन्होंने चिट्ठी दिया था इन सील्ड कवर्स, व्हेन डिड दे गिव द लेटर एंड व्हेन डिड द सुप्रीम कोर्ट वर्डिक्ट कम ऑन दिस इशू?
About 2 months back,
which is after this letter by the CAG saying that we don't want to redact the price.
In November they have submitted the sealed cover to Supreme Court, and 14th December the verdict came out, right? In November, in the sealed cover, Prabir is right. In November, in the sealed cover, they predicted that this will be a redacted one. And they have told that to the CAG, as per the CAG report, in February this year.
And
it's truly amazing.
And CAG refused to accept it initially. Now, it is true that without those details, it's virtually impossible to decipher what is being compared to what, because all of it is X, Y, Z, M, all kinds of letters have been used. Let us, for instance, agree with what the government seems to be saying, that the Supreme Court judges who are weak on grammar, they did not understand the difference between past tense, present tense and future tense. Right. So we will leave that to the Supreme Court to sort out its and the government's English, क्योंकि we don't have what
मैं एक और सवाल उठाना चाहता हूँ इस समय। ऐसे 11 ठेका CAG ने बारीकी से देखा। इसमें
11 contracts, 11 contracts.
Apache attack helicopter, इसमें चिनूक हेवी लिफ्ट हेलीकॉप्टर, पायलटस ट्रेनर एयरक्राफ्ट, मिसाइल्स है, एमिनिशन है, बहुत सारी चीज़ें, रिकॉनेसेंस सिस्टम, वेदर रेडार, ये सारे जितना ठेका है इसका एकदम लास्ट डिजिट अटैक हेलीकॉप्टर अटैच,
सबका डिटेल्स
11,420.05 करोड़, सबका नंबर आपने दिया, सिर्फ एक जगह में आपने BXS बना दिया.
10 defense purchases, capital acquisition. Now, on the 11th one, in the price column, just the price column, they blacked it out. That means it might have mentioned, we don't know whether it's mentioned, whether they had it, we don't know. It's blackened here. This is public money. Why? Why Modi government is so scared or reluctant to disclose what they are spending from the consolidated fund of India?
They have also said 95,000 crores
बिल्कुल,
in total
आपने ठीक
purchase.
कहा.
They have also said कि 10 का कितना कीमत है. Having said that, it takes 2 minutes for you to calculate that the Rafale deal as per CAG is 95,000 crore figure, and the other 10 figures that they have given is about 60,000, 61,000 crores.
It's nearly 61,000 crore.
That's what it is saying.
तो मैं आश्चर्य हो गया.
why this redaction of the total price, if they had to redact the price of the details, if at all? Now, as the whole world knows, there is enough details out there which makes clear what this so-called India-specific enhancements, for which the prices this presumably are keeping secret, and the total price of the aircraft they are keeping secret. Ravi, this is really more your question. The India-specific enhancements are not India-specific enhancements. They are only India-specific enhancements for Rafale.
The Rafale, yeah.
They are for other aircraft, including, for instance, the Eurofighter. These are very much a part of the base
Many
bid
of them,
itself.
not completely,
Not all of
yeah,
them, but
yeah.
for the base, many of them base bid. And this is reiterated by the CAG. It's
Right.
not me or you
Yeah,
saying it.
exactly.
The CAG is saying it, that lot of these were not India-specific enhancements. They were called for in the tender itself. These were the deviations Rafale had taken, because of which they were actually going to be thrown out of the bid.
Right.
So therefore, this whole English about India-specific enhancement itself is a problem.
Now we have to take it in a different way. In a comparison, in this, the CAG gives this comparison that ASQR, that's India-specific enhancement.
That is, ASQR is Air Staff Qualitative Requirements.
Yes. So Rafale was not matching with 14 of them.
14 of them.
Where Eurofighter Typhoon was lacking in 4 of them. Both the parties agreed that they will put it together. Now, my basic question is slightly different. CAG says that this proposal was a totally different one, and CAG goes into complete length to describe the entire process of the MMRCA deal. One second, okay. But when it comes to this one, they're completely, they're not at all saying a single word on the process. Who authorized the Prime Minister?
In fact, it's a very interesting question you're raising. They have given details of how bad the earlier process was.
They're starting from 2000 and up to 2015, then the Prime Minister's announcement. They're not saying what prompted the Prime Minister to announce, who authorized the Prime Minister to announce. These are not a part of this audit at all.
On 27th of March, there is, according to the CAG, a decision to scrap the MMRCA deal. The Defence Minister, public record, seems to know about it when? On April 3rd?
Yeah, on April 3rd.
Jai Shankar, the Foreign Minister, does not know it. Foreign Secretary. 2 days before Mr. Modi leaves, for France, was not aware that this deal is going to be cancelled. A new deal is in the offing. Right. New deal is announced, and you can go back and see the announcement. They claim, though they were not really agreements, it was just announcement. The announcements are made on 10th April. Right. From 27th of March to 10th April, how were the defense procedures followed? This is the question you're raising.
Exactly.
There is a procedure which has to be followed. Air Force has to say, I want this. Yes. On the basis of this, you have a procedure.
Right.
And if you are deciding the L1 bidder is to be negotiated with for a specific number of aircraft, you're scrapping the tender, then the L1 bidder has no meaning, A. And if you consider the L1 bidder to be still extant, alive for this purpose, then the other bidders also could have been alive.
To the Supreme Court, the government said on March they started to withdraw, even this report says the same, they started to withdraw the MMRCA process, right? 10th March, his Prime Minister Modi announced a new deal.
10th April.
10th April 2015. Now in this report, it starts only after, the audit says only after whatever happened after the announcement of the Prime Minister's announcement. What prompted him to announce this? Who authorized him? Where is the ASQ?
नहीं, और जो सवाल अभी प्रवीण ने आपसे उठाया, ये क्या बात है जे आपका रक्षा मंत्री मनोहर पारिकर जी को मालूम नहीं था, आपका विदेश सचिव जयशंकर को मालूम नहीं था, जो भारतीय वायु सेना उन लोग को भी मालूम नहीं था, और कैबिनेट
आप कह रहे कि 27 मार्च को ये डिसीजन हो चुका था, पर रक्षा मंत्री को मालूम नहीं था कि ये डिसीजन हो चुका कि MMRCA डील विथड्रॉ की जाएगी, स्क्रैप की कर दी जाएगी. What kind of a decision was reached which was not communicated to the defense minister?
If that was there, if such a decision was there, okay, the details were not provided to the CAG as per this report.
How did you come to a new agreement? Because the DPP, the defense procedure, even for intergovernmental agreement, is quite clear. Exactly. There has to be a set of processes to be followed. For our viewers, one must understand the 2G scam was not about who took the money. 2G scam was a violation of procedures. That's what the court said, the violation of procedures. And violation of procedures is what the coal secretary has been convicted of. So it's not that the violation of procedures are just matter of detail. They are the central issue when you talk about corruption at the government.
CAG report blackened the price. Okay, they don't want, the government don't want anyone to see the price. This morning, in the Hindu newspaper, N. Ram put out the dissent note of 3 members of the Indian negotiating team, right? It's the contact negotiation committee. They were the 3 technical members who had some ideas of this. That says the exact price is almost 7.88 billion, approximately. Few millions here and there.
Which has been going around the media for a very long time.
Yes. Now, this CAG report, when we take that price, and that report says, that dissent note says, 2 things. One, and this also says, this CAG report also says, there was a proposal from EADS, that is the manufacturers of Eurofighter Typhoon, which Indian Air Force selected the two machines, and one was Rafale and other was Eurofighter Typhoon.
And Eurofighter proved to be more expensive at that time.
As per at that time.
At that time.
They are saying they were cheaper.
2012, they proved to be more expensive.
Exactly. CAG report says that was cheaper. In that case, if they had to go, if Modi government had to go for a new deal, why didn't they consider that? The recent CAG report, government given to CAG report, government has told the CAG that it was an unsolicited report, so they didn't go for
unsolicited bid.
Offer.
Yeah, unsolicited offer, so they didn't consider that.
Assuming all the figures, redacted figures, which we don't see are there, they're all correct. Even assuming that, based on the report, is it an apple-to-apple comparison to look at the price of the earlier 126 aircraft and the 36 aircraft brought to a common base, or are there differences?
Defense Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and Arun Jaitley said 20% lower. Nirmala Sitharaman said it's 9% lower.
And so did Trappier actually.
Eric Trappier said 9% cheaper in the interview. The reason is, in this particular deal, there is no bank guarantee.
Correct. And bank guarantee has a price.
If you look, see the deal, the contract is signed on 2016. The contract ends on 2022. So if you go for a bank guarantee, if as per how the defense deals works, if the manufacturer is refusing to give a bank guarantee, the government forces them to give a bank guarantee saying that we will bear the bank guarantee charges.
Charges are bear karenge, correct.
Right. The dissent note of those 3 INT members, they worked
India
out.
negotiating team.
Yes, they worked out the charges which was coming to 7.8%.
तो इसका मतलब 7.8% बढ़ जाता है.
उसमें से
और
7.8 से आप 2.8 माइनस करेंगे
तो भी
the
करीब
difference
करीब
is
5%
approximately
difference है.
5% का
तो
पाँच
ये
के आसपास.
अच्छा,
प्राइस ज्यादा है.
I'm going to give them a benefit of doubt just because they have used so many letters of the alphabet to not tell us what the calculations are. Right. So we really don't know what they have or haven't done, which is what the CAG itself said, कि nobody will understand when we redact the price, what the hell have we audited? And I would go with that. Yes, we don't understand what the hell they have audited. But leaving that out, the issue is that bank guarantee was not considered in the comparison. That is fairly clear from these 2 accounts. I think 2 very important issues. A, 59,000 crores has been bandied about on the total price.
Nearly
of the fund.
61 now.
Now, as per this, according to CAG now, by simple subtraction, we reach a figure of 61,000 crores roughly. Okay, so that is one. The second is this 2.86 certainly is far lower than 20%, 9% that have been talked about.
That's
by
also
the
not there.
Minister. The minister
Actually,
earlier,
it's not there.
And even this 2.86% seems to be highly suspect because honestly, the bank guarantee figures we know, according to the dissent note of the 3 technical members, means that this price was going to be higher than the original price that they had offered. So I think on both these counts, best we can give to the CAG, well, shall we say, barely pass marks for their calculations, but certainly not much for transparency.
I will use harsher language.
I will allow you to do that.
I'm saying it's a sham.
You're saying it's a sham? What
I
would
am
you say?
saying my classmate in college, Mr. Rajiv Maharishi, the Controller and Auditor General of India, he's a constitutional functionary, hasn't exactly covered his office with glory by selectively choosing not to disclose information which, in the opinion of not just me but large numbers of people, would not have compromised the security of this country, but selectively redacted information which evidently suits the ruling regime. So the autonomy of the CAG, the independence of the CAG, I believe, has been compromised. And as we discussed at the very outset, how did the Supreme Court know what was going to happen all this while, 2 months before?
Last concluding remark, which I would like Paranjoy to make. I'm giving him the last chance on this, Ravi. I'm going to not go on the assault. I'm going to ask you, Maharishi was the finance secretary, okay? He's now become the CAG. This did go to the finance ministry in spite of what Mr. Jaitley says, because the defense procurement procedure is very clear that this has to be seen by the finance ministry. Was it right on his part to have done this, signed the report, or should he have recused himself saying, I'm not going to be party to this, let somebody else in the CAG look into this?
According to Mr. Arun Jaitley, the finance minister, who has given Mr. Rajiv Maharishi a clean chit, saying that, the finance secretary really had nothing to do with it. There were junior flunkies, but after all, he still headed that department. The other justification could be that Mr. Maharishi wore a different hat at that point of time. As the secretary, the senior most secretary in the Ministry of Finance, he was holding a particular position. Now that he's in a constitutional position as the head of the Controller and Auditor General of India, he can afford to look dispassionately at his own judgments, if you like. It's like saying somebody was finance secretary and becomes the RBI governor, and therefore his position changes and he can afford to be critical of himself. Regretfully, I wish I could be as charitable as this to my friend Mr. Rajiv Merishi.
We left one thing in between here. The price was for this particular deal for 36 Rafale. The price what Dassault was given in 2000, 7.8 billion. In 2015,
Yes.
our government and ministers keep saying this price is a better negotiated price. Before the negotiation started, this price was submitted by Dassault. Look at today's dissent note. It says,
Okay, what you are saying is this was the price which was given at that time, submitted by Dassault. Negotiations does not seem to have made any change in the price.
Okay,
It was taken at face value. Is that what you are saying?
Prabir, despite my classmates, I don't want to have the last word. I'd like you and Ravi to have the last word. I want to ask one question here.
Okay.
Where does Mr. Anil Ambani figure into all this?
Well, there is going to be a separate CAG report on the offset contract. That has also been written over here. So we have to wait for it with bated breath. Whether this will
Do you think it will happen before the elections or after the elections?
how can Parliament is over now? How it will not come out?
I think it's very clear. It's very
The
clear.
session is over. Parliament session is ending today. This is the last day.
So the real
See,
issue,
why did they wait? Why did they wait for the last day of the session of the government? Right. Today is Modi government's last day in the Parliament.
That's right. Thank you very much, both of you, for being with us, trying to enlighten me and the viewers on this very complicated picture that the CAG has presented before the nation today. Enough for today. We'll keep coming back to you with more Rafales because I don't think this issue is going to go away.